European nations that heavily rely on trade with Britain are likely to grow worried at the lack of no Brexit deal being struck as they pile on pressure on the Brussels bureaucrats to start talks, the banking chief claims. The Commission's chief Brexit negotiator Michel Barnier, speaking after the fifth round of talks between the EU and UK, once again claimed Britain had not made sufficient progress to proceed to trade negotiations. However, Mr. Davies predicts that the leaders of the EU's member states could soon intervene and demand that the Commission begin trade negotiations as the prospect of a damaging no-deal situation moves closer. He told Bloomberg there will be a process with the national governments to see some momentum for these talks can be delivered. Bloomberg Getty European Commission set to be overruled by European leaders hoping to kickstart Brexit talks. Some of the others can see that allowing this game to continue week by week in Brussels is really not very constructive, so I'm not too pessimistic about where we are. The group could include Germany, whose carmakers are likely to suffer in the event of the UK not being offered a reasonable trading arrangement with the EU. German Chancellor Angela Merkel has to date sided with the European Commission on Brexit talks, but the country's leading industry may force her to change tact. Ruth Lee, an economic advisor for the Arbuthnot banking groups, warned Germany has a lot to lose if Brexit negotiations fall through. Ms. Lee told Express.co.uk, I have always thought that actually, Germany has got quite a lot to lose if there isn't a trade deal, she said. They do have an absolutely ginormous trade surplus with us. Actually, the EU has a trade surplus of visible trade of about £80 billion to £90 billion, which is enormous. Germany's trade surplus with the UK is £2.5 billion to £3 billion a month. That's enormous. How many German jobs are involved in that? Wednesday, September 13, 2017. The problem is for German industry is that the German politicians play the game that we are actually more concerned about the European political project than they are about their manufacturers. At least that is what they say up front. What they say behind closed doors, you and I will never know. At the end of the day, if the German government was given the choice between standing up for the European project, and it is very important that Britain must not get a good deal because that might damage the European project, or actually saying perhaps we ought to be nice to our car industry, they will stand up for the European project. To cut a long story short, how much influence the German manufacturers can actually bring on the German government is very questionable.